Welcome to Health Haven Health Talks, where we dive deep into the world of health and wellness. Our goal is to empower you with the knowledge and tools you need to thrive, whether you're dealing with a specific health issue or simply looking to optimize your well-being. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi there. Welcome to Health Haven Health Talks, where we talk about all the things that interest us about health and interest you about health. Today we have Chaitali Shah. She is a homeopathic doctor and she was trained in India. She's got 13 years of experience in homeopathy, and she has a wonderful, amazing story, and she's going to share with us information about how to have a strong immune system the homeopathic way. So take over, Chaitali.
Hi, so I'm just gonna start my screen sharing so you guys can also look at the slides. Just 1 minute. All right, so are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Okay, perfect. Great. So that's the topic for today, which is how do you build a strong immunity with homeopathy. Now, just a little bit background about me. I have a bachelor's degree in homeopathic medicine from India. I am licensed with the College of Homeopaths of Ontario, as well as the Canadian Society of Homeopaths, which is in BC. I have certifications and a special interest in children's health, women's health, and chronic diseases. I've presented many papers in national and international homeopathic forums, and I've also published some articles which have been published in India and Canada. For more information, you can visit my website, which is www.torontohomeopathicwellness.com, or follow me on any of the social media handles at Toronto Homeopathic Wellness. Now, going into homeopathy, basically, what is homeopathy? It's a different system of holistic medicine that was founded by a German medical doctor in the late 18th and early 19th centuries called Dr. Samuel Hahnemann. Basically, what he observed with his experiences on his patients is that every illness was always accompanied by a mental and a spiritual aspect. So no illness was purely physical, except, of course, something like an injury or an accident. So keeping this in mind, Dr. Samuel Hahnemann started approaching his treatments in this kind of a holistic way, where he kept into account the whole body, which is the physical body, the mind, and the spirit, and not just the localized disease. And based on all of, he worked for many years trying to understand the whole relation of all of this, and he came up with 3 fundamental principles. The first principle is the law of similars. Now, these 3 fundamental principles are what basically define about how homeopathy works. So if we have to talk about the first principle, it is the law of similars, which is, in simple words, it is known as like cures like. So basically, this started when Dr. Hahnemann started experimenting on himself. And what he did was he started consuming very small amounts of certain medicinal medicinal substances from nature. So, for example, he experimented with cinchona bark, which naturally has the quinine, which is the treatment for malaria. Now, what he saw was that when he took this in a very small amount in his healthy body, it started producing symptoms of malaria without really the consequences, which is anemia, jaundice, etc. So, and then he continued to conduct such experiments on himself with different medicinal substances. And with this, what he concluded was that when a substance has a certain medicinal power, when it is consumed by a healthy body, it has the power to produce those symptoms in that healthy body. But when it is given in a minute dose to a diseased person, it has the power to cure the same kind of symptoms in that diseased person. So this is where like cures like, meaning it has a power to physiologically cause the symptoms in a healthy body. But when those symptoms are already present, it can have a healing effect on a diseased body for the same symptoms. But this is only possible when it is given in a very minute, standardized homeopathic potentized like super dilutions, not in crude like huge doses. Which brings us to the second principle, which is that there is only one remedy which will have this picture of the symptoms. So it is truly a totality, like truly a holistic concept, where all your symptoms, your body, mind, and spirit together is what defines you and is what defines that situation in that moment. So there is only one true corresponding remedy to that symptom totality, because going by what like cures like, each medicinal substance can produce a certain set of symptoms. So that set has to match with this set, and hence there will be only one true remedy for that. And then the third fundamental principle is the principle of minimum dose, which basically means that you need a very minuscule dose to stimulate the body's physiological responses. And you don't really need very, very heavy, very big, very crude forms of repeated and multiple doses, which is the way the general medicine system works. But when it comes to homeopathy, because of the super dilutions, you need only that little bit amount to stimulate your body's innate healing power, and you don't really need more than that. So, for example, this is also observed in the theory of vaccinations or allergy treatments, where a very small amount is introduced to the body, which teaches the body to fight that allergen or that foreign body or that bacteria or that virus. It stimulates the body's innate defense system towards it. So the body learns to fight it and to heal itself. So it's kind of a similar concept like the vaccines. Now, talking about the body's immune system. So broadly, if any kind of treatment system will have two kinds of effects. One is that it will directly impact the specific symptoms. For example, you have hyperacidity, you take an antacid. You have a bacterial infection, you take an antibiotic. This is the first type. And then the second type is that the body has its own power to heal, and the system will stimulate the body's own immune system. So most natural therapeutic ways, for example, homeopathy, will primarily attend to the latter goal, which is it will augment the person's own inherent defenses. So, for example, there was a study published in the European Journal of Pharmacology, where the homeopathic medicine Silesia, which is mainly given for any kind of infective situations, where there's like a lot of suppuration, a lot of pus formation, like say a rectal abscess or an infective wound, or like a infected nasal sinuses, but there isn't a vent formation, like the body is not able to remove this pus out of the body. So Silesia is commonly given for such situations. And in this journal, in the study that was published, it was seen that it stimulated the macrophages, which are basically the immune cells that will eat up these foreign bacteria or foreign substances, viruses, etc. So basically, what homeopathic medicines will do is they will not only affect the infective agent, but it will also stimulate your body's immune system to defend and heal itself. Now, the other aspect is what happens in chronic conditions. So in chronic conditions, basically the person is suffering because their immune system is overactive. So it's not only killing the unwanted cells, but it's also killing the body's, natural good cells which are required. So for example, in an autoimmune disorder, the body is not only attacking the bacteria or the viruses of foreign bodies, but it's also attacking the healthy cells. So in such instances, the homeopathic remedies will calm down the overactive immune system so that it functions optimally and only when and where required. So it's not only stimulating, but it can also calm down the immune system if that is what is needed to heal the person. So again, as an example, there was a study conducted on rheumatoid arthritis patients, and out of 46 people, 82% of those given the individualized choice of homeopathic medicine, I will talk about that, they experienced relief of pain, while only 21% of those given placebo experienced a similar thing. Now, the reason I've highlighted individualized choice of homeopathic medicine is again to emphasize on the fact that it is not just any homeopathic remedy, but it would be something that is carefully selected based on the law of like cures like, based on the law of a single remedy, and based on the law of minimum dosage. So all of that would come only with a lot of understanding and experience on the side, on the part of the homeopath, and not just any remedy that can do this. So I think it's it's safe to say that homeopathic remedies are not just immunostimulating, but rather they are immunomodulators, because they will modulate the immunity based on what is required in that moment for the body to heal. Now, what happens at a typical homeopathic consultation? Typically, the first consultation lasts between 60 and 90 minutes. To be honest, sometimes it can even go beyond if there is actually that much more to discuss. And now during this first consultation, we will mainly focus on, of course, the chief complaint that brings you to me. But then apart from that, if there are any other physical complaints that you're experiencing, your past medical history, your family history, your general condition, lifestyle, your patterns and habits like bowel movements, sleep patterns, dream patterns, etc. And then, of course, your mental health and your life space. Because all of these things together is what defines you, is what makes you, and it is what is adding to your experience to the current illness. And it's not just a physical thing of, oh, I have pain in the back, but there's a lot more that goes into it. Like, now we know that stress is a huge factor for like so many conditions. The gut health is a huge factor for so many issues that earlier were not considered related. So this is the reason why we go into such kind of details. And sometimes patients find it kind of unnecessary. Like, why are you asking me about, say, my menstrual history when I'm coming to you for migraines? But did you know that migraines are related to your hormonal imbalances? So even though it may seem unnecessary and unrelated, it is of extreme importance to me as a homeopath if I were to truly treat you in a truly holistic homeopathic way. And then say, the first consult is done, we've done a, like a detailed analysis, and I've come up with a remedy and the right dose, and you've taken the dose. And now what do you expect? So assuming that you were given the correct remedy and the correct dose, there are three possible outcomes. First is, of course, recovery, which is you will slowly start feeling a relief of the symptoms, and it will continue to happen till you are healed. The second, which is quite a common occurrence, is an initial aggravation. So in this, what happens is the patient feels a slight aggravation very briefly, like say for the first 24 to 48 hours. And it's nothing that's unbearable. It's a very slight aggravation. And then it is followed by a very gradual relief of the symptoms. So in this case, it is definitely advisable to inform your homeopath about the aggravation and then observe. And then once you start feeling a relief, that's an indication that you're on the right path. And this generally happens because your system is responding to the remedy. To give you an example, a lot of times when we take a vaccine, for the first 24 to 48 hours, we have a slight temperature. Why is that so? It's because our immune system is responding to the vaccine. So similarly, it could also happen with homeopathic remedies. But it's a normal physiological response, and there's nothing to worry about it. Of course, keep your homeopath in the loop and informed. And then the third, the third possible outcome is the remedy reaction, which can happen basically in which the patient will feel an aggravation and it will not resolve even after 48 hours, and it will be uncomfortable. It is, of course, advisable to immediately inform your homeopath about this. And the reason this could happen is two reasons. One is that the remedy you were given was not right, despite of the best efforts. Sometimes, there are more than 5,000 remedies in homeopathy. So it can happen that the remedy that you were given was not accurate for your system, in which case it can be immediately stopped and rectified. There are antidotes, everything can be taken care of. Or two, the remedy was right, but the dosage that you were prescribed was not right for your system. Again, that can be amended, that can be reduced or increased or stopped for a while until you settle down. So in every situation, it is definitely worthwhile to keep your homeopath informed, especially for the first couple of days, because you're responding to the remedy. And even the homeopath doesn't know what to expect, because each person is different and it's difficult to tell how every patient is going to respond to it. So yeah, that's where we are. If you have any questions, shoot them.
Okay, so that was a fantastic presentation with lots of great information. Anne-Marie is here and Sankat just joined us. Hopefully I pronounced your name correct. If either of you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask away. Or you can type in the chat if you're less comfortable speaking, whatever you prefer.
No,
Yeah.
no questions on my end.
Okay.
I have one question. When it comes to like homeopathic combinations, because at the store we do sell a lot of like combinations, and I look at the list, there's many different things in there.
Yeah.
In terms of like just being able to find the right remedy for even myself, or even like I'm speaking from personal experience with like customers.
Yeah.
How would you know, like because I know you mentioned that it's best to use every person's unique, so it's best to speak directly to a homeopathic doctor. But in case like a customer wants something right away to help their symptoms right away, what would happen in that situation?
Yeah, so that's a really great question. Actually, so what I was talking about is classical homeopathy. This is what was devised. This is what was, put in the books by Dr. Hahnemann. Over the period of, all of these years, of course, things have evolved. And then there are a lot of people who do practice multiple remedies. So for example, these combinations that you're talking about, say by Dr. Rekweg or, Unda and stuff like that. These combinations are great. I am personally not somebody who's very comfortable using those, just because I have always been a practitioner of classical homeopathy. But I know that people use it and they have seen some really good results. But I would give you a word of caution that because there are so many remedies, you don't always know what may not sit well with the customer. In your case, the customer, because, we're technically selling it over the counter and not really doing a detailed history. So I would give you a word of caution to let the customers know that, if it's not suiting them, if it's not working for them, to kind of not keep continuing with something. I don't know, like in terms of what you could recommend, I would just go by what the company is recommending, because the combinations are made by them. You could recommend them in those situations. But personally, that is not classical homeopathy. And I'm not a big fan of that practice. Because even if it helps, for example, I don't know that out of those 6-7 remedies in the combination, which is the remedy that actually helped the customer. Or if it did not help, maybe there was only one that was not helping, or that was causing the adverse reaction, but I'll never know what that was. So that's my take on it. I'm not the one to say whether it's right or wrong. I know there are people who practice it and they have great success. It's just not something that I like, that I practice. So I'm not the right person to tell you if that's okay or not.
Okay, that's great. Oh, sorry.
Does that answer your question?
Oh, yes, it does. Thank you so much. Yes. And then in the case, like, because I have tried to whenever customers ask for homeopathic advice, I do try to refer them to you as well. So
okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. But I guess another question is, a lot of people ask is like, how long will it take, like with with proper consultation and things like that? Because I know you might have to change your speaking from my experience when I was with you for you have to change your remedies once a week, or sometimes depending on the nature of what the person needs. Like, how long typically would you need to be on a homeopathic?
So there's no real correct answer to this. Unfortunately, it depends on the condition. So for example, if I have a child who's been having like recurrent cough, cold, say since the past 3-4 months, I'm going to say 6 months of medication should be enough for the child. But if somebody's coming to me with like 10 years of, say, IBS, 6 months is not going to be enough. And also each person responds differently. For somebody, it could be 1 year. For somebody, it could be 5 years. It really depends, because it also depends on your life situation, your stress levels, like lots of things. And if I have more than one thing to fix, then it is going to take me that much longer. So the right answer is, it depends on the condition and the person's response to the remedies. So yeah.
Okay. Yes. Thank you so much. I think those are all the questions I have for now.
Thank you, Anne-Marie.
Those were great questions. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is, I think we're going to close this particular talk. We're going to say, if you're watching the replay and you have any questions at all for Chaitali or myself regarding Health Haven, please send any questions to info@healthhavenclinic.com, and we will get back to you as soon as possible with answers. Also, Chaitali is available and ready to take on any new patients at the moment. She has a very large availability at the clinic, almost daily. So just go to our website, which is healthhavenclinic.com, and click book now, and you can easily book in with her for a new patient consultation. And you will not be sorry, because homeopathy is an amazing source of natural healing. So thank you so much for joining us for our bi-weekly calls, and have a great day. Thanks for tuning in to Health Haven Health Talks. We hope you found today's episode informative and engaging. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and please share with anyone you know who could benefit from our insights. See you next time.